heart. Miss Honey, 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 Miss Honey. Don't you hear me calling you Miss Honey? I know you hear me calling you Miss Honey. The bitch knew that I'll be back. She knew that I would not go long, Miss Honey. Miss Honey! Where's the bitch? She's got some nerve. Here I am and feeling fears. Miss Honey! Miss Honey! Miss Honey! Miss Honey! Don't you hear me calling you Miss Honey? I know you hear me calling you Miss Honey. Don't you hear me calling you? Don't you hear me calling you? Don't you hear me calling you Miss Honey? The bitch knew that I'll be back. She knew that I would not go long, Miss Honey. Miss Honey! Where's the bitch? She's got some nerve. Here I am, I'm feeling scared. Miss Honey! Miss Honey! Miss Honey! Miss Honey! Miss Honey! Miss Honey, 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 Miss Honey! Miss Honey, 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 Miss Honey! Miss Honey! Miss Honey! Miss Honey! Miss Honey, 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 Miss Honey. Don't you hear me calling you Miss Honey? I know you hear me calling you Miss Honey. Don't you hear me calling you? Don't you hear me calling you? Don't you hear me calling you Miss Honey? The bitch knew that I'll be back. She knew that I would not go long, Miss Honey. Miss Honey! Miss Honey! Miss Honey! Miss Honey! Miss Honey, 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 Miss Honey! Miss Honey, 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 Miss Honey! Miss Honey! Miss Honey, Miss Honey, Miss Honey, Miss Honey, Miss Honey, Miss Honey,
First of all, shout out to BossMann for sitting through that video. Okay. Shout out to the heterosexuality strong in this bitch. Okay. I know he about to have a good night. He gonna be here for a little bit. He can go. Shout out to him. But anyway, y'all, let's get into it, y'all, because it's kind of late. Okay, it's kind of late. It's a little late. It's a little late. No shade. I was having a little watch party of this epic ass. Girl, what the fuck going on, bitch? Come on now. Not they over there praying. Shout out to the epic slayage. And not just slayage as far as the shade. Okay, it was so effortlessly done. Damn, it must have been the baby hairs or something, nigga. Something. But the way that he was able to walk in accountability. That even though y'all niggas say that I'm not like y'all, he not like us, bitch, that's actually a good thing because I'm me. Maybe y'all should try it. Okay? Let's bring some people up on the panel. Okay? First of all, let's bring up, where y'all at? A YouTuber I need for y'all to get into, okay? Me and him just recently connected. Dope ass individual. I love the community building. This is the time for it. Yeah, shit getting scary, but this is the time to talk, weed all that bullshit out, and get to the real shit. I want y'all to welcome Tit for Tat. What is going on? How are you doing?
What's up, peeps? What's going on, Bubs?
Yes. I am good.
Deshaun, George. George still with us?
Yeah, everybody here. I'm about to bring them on up. Next we got one of my supporters. Shout out to him. Okay, I'm waiting for him to go the fuck off. Okay, he been nice, he been cool, but we gonna see what it's gonna be now, because shit is different. I would like to.
He done went off a few times. He went off a few times tonight.
I ain't talking about him yet. I ain't talking about him yet. Okay, and then definitely the individual that y'all gonna hear the passion from, because again, y'all keep ignoring our stories. And then when we get upset and irritated and agitated because we know what y'all doing, y'all trying to find ways to silence us. Hey, you're not going to silence the pain. The more ignorant you are, the louder the truth will be. Y'all got to figure it out. I want y'all to welcome King Breezy in his mug. What's going on, King Breezy?
I'm doing fine. You?
I'm good, y'all. This edible kicking in. This is impromptu. All right. Last but definitely not least, I would like to welcome the man of the hour, the individual that came through and did what needed to be done. And sometimes doing the right thing is not always the easiest thing to do. But no shade, as much as y'all believe this individual is not a man, he just proved to y'all how much of a man he is, ladies and gentlemen. That is BossMann in the building. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How's everybody?
Great. Good. Now, again, before we go forward, I have to give you your 10s. You have literally lived up to your name, which is the objectivist. You were able to turn certain situations and experiences that you're still dealing with to this day and transmute it to work for your good, to where you've manifested pretty much the life you want. You know what I'm saying? And still learning along the way. So for you to be on the platform tonight, well, let me ask you this. Before you did this live, how are you feeling? Like, what was running through your mind before you decided to get yourself prepared for the live you just did?
Honestly, just airing out just issues, honestly. Airing out problems, issues, complications, but honestly just setting the record straight of what is going on relative to a particular individual, and bringing to light and showing the full picture of that individual's particular recalcitrant behavior, and defending me and defending the honor of my family and who I am. That's about it.
Okay. Well, again, like I said, you really did. You're a big one as far as bringing this all together. To me, it was very coherent. He basically gave y'all the cheat sheet, y'all. He gave y'all the whole entire timeline. I gagged. And then again, the editing about, that you were doing, again, like you said, you're
that needs some work.
Yeah, but the fact that you were able to, why is this shit not on a loop? I need this on a loop. Put it on a loop. There we go. You still did what needed to be done, and no shade. On a lot of these red pill spaces and panels, they don't really bring the level of expertise, the level of awareness, the level of information that you do. I mean, again, if we go back to your first live that you did, you were talking about how a theocracy was on the way. And again, you had individuals who were telling you, oh, you're fear-mongering, oh, you're lying, you're falling for these leftist ideas. We're not going down that route. We're not going down that road. But then when you did the LGBT conundrum, which I'm glad you did, because even though you had critiques, it was critiques to help enhance, but not destroy. Do you get what I'm saying? A lot of the commentary during that LGBT conundrum, for the most part, was affirming to queer people, even to the fact of you saying that, hey, you don't even have to say, oh, I'm born this way, because sexuality is very fluid. No matter how rigid society wants it to be, in reality, it's fluid. Which is why, again, when you brought up the whole idea, but the pictures of individuals dressing in the 60s and 70s with the tight pants and the nuts on the side, and you see the crop tops and damn booty meat right there, all that type of stuff. It's like, it's very fluid. It's very fluid. But when you did the religious conundrum, I said to myself, okay, well, maybe I will learn something. And I did. But again, not from the individuals on the platform. So when you were doing those videos, and I just have to say this, it kind of irritated me because they didn't mind showing up for the LGBT stuff because, again, that's the scapegoat. That's the thing that we use to shield ourselves from the shit that we're actually doing. Or better yet, those queer people, when they tell their stories, unfortunately, we, the bullies, we, the ignorant ones, are going to be in it, which means we have to be accountable, so they fight it. But when you started talking about the religious aspect of it, that is used against queer people and used against Black people and used against women, just like tonight, it was pretty much crickets. And you calling people by their name. And no shade, I commend you for that, because if I were to do that, I would have gotten all the smoke and then some that we're seeing some people are afraid to give. But that's why I'm glad that you were on the platform. You are low-key a blessing to that platform. Again, you're trying to break up the monotony, break up the echo chamber, and really bring some change. Let me ask you this. In reference to you doing all that from your first live all the way up to now, have you really seen a change? And if not, how do you feel about that being the case?
So have I seen change? To be fair, I didn't start watching the network until mid or so, 2024 area. Okay, so I'm only working off of a certain time frame, to be fair. So I'm only working off of that, so I can only go off of what I've seen, to be fair.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Now, relative to that, there have been some modicum of change to some degree.
Okay.
Do I see some areas where there is some pushback? Absolutely. Do I see areas where there's a drive or some type of resistance to see anything from a different perspective? Yes, absolutely. Do I know for a fact that I've absolutely pushed that kind of change? Maybe. Maybe. Adding me to the mix, I put it like this. When the conversation was asked about me as far as bringing me on board, I have to acknowledge the fact that it was said to me directly that we want to have, literally this is what was said. They wanted to have someone to provide deference. This was literally what was told to me. And they didn't want an echo chamber.
Okay. Interesting.
So me coming on board, what the purpose of it was for me to come on and to provide that difference. And I literally said that I don't agree with y'all. And shout out, I mean, to BMU's credit, he did tell me, he said, that's fine. We want that. And I make no qualms. Oh, hey BMU. So I make no qualms with saying that. And any chance I get to bring that truth out, that is the case. When it is challenged, that my when my position is challenged, I bring up that fact. And I bring up that it wasn't just him, it was also lost in translation as well. Even me being here right now is actually a thing that came from lost in translation.
Mhm.
Who made it very clear that if you, that go over and see who Bubs is for yourself.
Thank you, Lost. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. That makes me honor, respect more. Thank you. I'm sorry, I just had to say that. Thank you.
Don't,
Thank you.
See who he is for yourself. Don't, I mean, obviously, and I've made it very clear to, I'll say this publicly. I've made it very clear to Bubs that our interaction does not need to be a situation where there is disrespect, where there is slander against the network because of my affiliation. We can have
they kind of disrespectful to you though, because I watched that. They were quite disrespectful to you.
I understand.
And my thing is, where were all the men at when this conversation was being had?
Which conversation? Conversation I'm speaking of about me joining
from tonight. I see we have a guest in the chat. Where were all these people when the conversation was being had?
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, let's wait for that real quick.
You got to be specific. Okay, are we talking about the conversation I'm speaking of about me joining, or are you talking about the conversation about tonight? Which one?
Tonight.
Okay, tonight. All right. So let's split. So that's my conversation as far as me joining, and I'm thrilled that an opportunity was even presented to me for me to even have a platform, or for me to even be able to have exposure to that degree. Okay.
Correct.
Now, where I think everybody is probably wondering about the support factor, as far as when I'm having certain conversations and where are they, even with tonight. I have a nasty habit. I'll be very honest with you. I have a nasty habit of giving people the benefit of the doubt until they show me different.
Right.
Okay. And I understand how things could appear from the outside looking in, but you guys have to understand the position that I'm in relative to the situation and relative to how things roll. Okay, so let's kind of backtrack. All right. I don't know if you guys saw last Monday.
I did.
Okay. Before last Monday occurred, BMU called me and he said, "Are you okay?" And I exploded on him unfairly, to which I had to apologize to him because he didn't deserve that. Okay.
Right.
When right is right, right is right. When wrong is wrong, wrong is wrong.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
He only called me to check on me because he saw that the chat that I showed you guys tonight, he saw what was happening. Okay. He called to check on my mental. Okay. And I was not okay. Okay. The calm, collected, cordial individual you see right now before you was not that. Okay. And I was red hot. I was hot. Okay. I was incensed. Okay. So I had to apologize to him for how I responded. Okay. But I told him that the two people on that panel got 15 minutes before my high yellow pretty ass pops up on that goddamn panel. 15 minutes. It was 15 minutes. And I slicked back my goddamn hair. All right. And my ass was there. Now, with that in mind, he said that, okay, I understand. You got to do what you got to do. I understand. What you saw was basically the understanding of a man needs to be able to stand up, take care of what he got to take care of, and let men be men. Was what you saw. That's why nobody said shit. That's why nobody stepped in and said, yeah, yeah. That's why you didn't see shit. Because sometimes absence of something, absence of anybody saying anything is actually agreement.
Mm-hmm.
This is why Trey got upset. Because if somebody didn't come in and say and pick a side, they're staying neutral, which means what's about to happen, they actually agree with. Because what he invoked is what the fuck he deserved.
Well,
do you understand?
Right. That's right. 100%.
What ass whooping you end up getting in that moment, if no one stepped in to help you, bro, you deserve that shit. Because you know you were dead fucking wrong. It's like basically saying, I'm gonna go get my partners to come whoop your ass, right? And then they come in and like, yeah, what you do to my bro? What you do to my bro? And then the dude says, do y'all know what he did? He did X, Y, and Z. No, bro, no, we don't play that. We don't play that, right? And they back off. And then the ass whooping then ensues. Nobody comes and helps you. That's what you basically just saw.
That only speaks to the cowardice, though. Always needing someone to fight their battles versus having that conversation with you one-on-one, like a man.
right.
So I need you guys to understand that sometimes when it comes to those type of situations, you got to read it a little differently. That it's not always the fact that they didn't gang up to support. Well, sometimes letting men duke their shit out is them saying, no, I can't support that, bro, because you were wrong. The only thing I pointed out tonight was the fact that where is the accountability of just being able just to say, just to acknowledge that it's wrong, just to say it. That's all. That's it. Just to be able to say it sometimes. And the reason being is because that individual is permitted to come up still and do certain shit, say certain shit, and with freedom. Okay? And amongst men, we talk about all the time holding each other accountable. And it's been stated before that this individual has integrity.
That part. Thank you.
Well, if he has integrity and you stand with him, but you don't point out his bullshit. But if I were to say something and do something, you would point me out immediately. That is the inconsistency right there. So that's the only thing that I mentioned. Aside from anyone standing and fighting my battles, I don't need motherfuckers to fight my battles.
Correct. Obviously, we see that.
Okay?
Obviously, we see that.
I'll pop up and show niggas. That ain't the issue. The issue here, and when it comes to my wife, I don't need no help with that shit. That ain't the issue.
She's on standby.
Always. The issue here is that it is a moral and principle of the matter. And if this was anybody else, some random person, I don't give a shit. Like I had some random guy named Clue come onto the scene and challenge the same thing about me. Fuck him. Why? Because he ain't even a goddamn G list member of the goddamn network. I don't care about him.
Was that Blue's Clues?
What I care about is the fact that this individual here is a archived like C-list member. Like he's part of the family in a sense. Like if a link goes out, he gets an invite type shit. That's the part. And when we have people who say I stand with him, well, now we got a problem. That's it. But also the other part of it is that he is making it his business to point out people within the network. Now, I will also make note that BMU also said to me that this guy also did call him and did have a conversation and tried to challenge him and basically said, well, if it's me or you, if it's him or me, I'm gonna choose BossMann basically because of the fact that it's my shit. Like,
and you're an asset to them.
Exactly. So credit where credit is
important.
due. Don't get me wrong. What I'm looking for here is I wouldn't say yes acknowledgement, but also the concept or the awareness of the fact that you got people out here that would use what they believe they have authority to use, which is a network, for instance, as a catalyst for their agenda, essentially. And also to point out, if I may, while I'm here for a second, Bubs, is you have people like that who are destructive to any idea or any possibility of bridging gaps between platforms like this and platforms like that.
Yes.
Because you have people like that who will then say, well, you're different. So because you're different, we have nothing alike.
Yes.
And it's like, well, wait a second.
I got next.
If you would just sit down with me for a minute, you may actually find out that there are things that actually connect us.
The similarities. Correct. Exactly.
And that's where I wish I had taken a moment to mention that tonight, but that's why I wanted to come on here tonight to mention that point, is because it's people like that who makes it very difficult to have conversations, because you would look at me and say, you're not like us. And it's conversations like that that makes it very difficult for there to be a bridge in the middle between differences of people. That's all.
I'm glad you said all of that and you broke all that down.
Sure.
Everything that you have experienced from your inception to the channel, because again, I'm like that nosy ass neighbor in the neighborhood, bitch. I care about the neighborhood, bitch. What y'all doing? What's going on? What's going on? And I want to learn as well. You know what I mean? So watching your inception, when you came into the network up till now,
okay,
everything that you have experienced is everything that I have experienced and more watching that channel. See, you had the ability to be on the inside, to see how things work, to be able to have closer conversations with these people and see a little bit more of their character. You know what I mean? And the fact that you're talking about Trey, if you look at some of the old content, especially the ones where myself, Conscious TV, Reckless Logic, anybody who was queer or affirming of anything in the feminine energy, whatever they have conversations over there, it is literally the Trey effect of you're different, so we have nothing in common. The first question that was asked to me, the second time I was there, as if though they forgot me the first time, was, what does your community have to offer us? That was the first question that they led off with. Basically, what can I get from this? Well, obviously, y'all have not been looking at history. Obviously, y'all must not be paying attention to the Black church that is ran by the feminine energy, that keeps it alive. But again, they ask those questions in a fear-based way to not really have the real conversations that they say they want to have, which creates that echo chamber. And one thing about Trey that I can give him, I guess, a little bit of respect for, is the fact that he was the only one that was big and bad enough to call it out. Because to your point, had I been on the platform, it would have been niggas from across town, niggas from across the seas, all different type of individuals coming into the cut to be able to get a slice of fucking up that punk, because that's the easiest way for me to tap into my masculinity or to show niggas that I'm masculine. And that's exactly what Trey tried to do to you and failed epically. Because again, in the video, the one thing and only thing that he has is the perspective of performing masculinity or looking masculine. Meanwhile, you have the majority of what he does not have. So who really's checkmate here? No shade. And shout out to Sparta, because Sparta was, again, the only man, a man who wasn't Black, mind you, who were able to come up on the platform and to be able to call Trey out. But what was very interesting is that in that chat, when you were calling those men out, those men were nowhere to be found. So I asked the question, if Trey is the individual that is integral based off of what he does, that kind of says something about y'all's personalities. No shade and no disrespect to you, boss man, but just from an objective perspective, because like you said, you've been there for a certain amount of time. I've been watching these individuals literally doing a case study, literally documenting what queer phobia looks like and the rise of it. These individuals will have queer people on the platform and then the next day have a cleanup live of them struggling over their words and trying to find other people like yourself, boss man, to have those conversations because, I'm sorry, they're too ignorant to have those conversations. Which is why, again, I appreciate you being over there. Now I'm done. Is there anybody else that would like to say something tit for tat? Deshaun, Harold, any questions that you'd like to have for Boss Man? Boss Man, if you have questions for us, ask them. This is a conversation.
I have a question for
okay, and then
Boss
you're next,
Man.
Harold. Okay, I got you, Harold, because I need Harold to speak too. Go ahead.
Respectfully speaking, what is it that you're hoping to contribute to that particular platform in regards to your teachings, I guess you could say?
1 second.
Uh-oh.
Writing shit down. Hang on. Okay. All right. What I hope to contribute. The biggest thing, honestly, is yes, objectivity for sure. But an objective perspective to kind of foil what it seems to be a constant kind of what I would say maybe a battle rhythm, a constant metronomic kind of sort of understanding of what things are or what things aren't. A different perspective of something that they either collectively believe as a whole. So yes, when I started with the theocratic mindset, that was a harbinger for what was to come, but what was also to come from me.
Right.
When it came to the LGBTQ conundrum, that was a bifurcated approach or intent approach. That was to also to try and educate them, but also to kind of provide a charge to the pride community as well. Because one of the things I wanted to kind of do there as a two-pronged approach there, I never want to just provide problem and never provide a potential solution.
Correct.
What I oftentimes hear is, and it's not just at the network, it's everywhere that I hear it oftentimes.
Thank you.
It's just problem, and not a solution or a potential solution, even if the solution is egregious, but a solution. All right. And so I oftentimes spin my wheels saying, okay, here's what I want to talk about. What is the target? Or if I have this target, work my way back to what is the problem. And it sometimes what ends up happening is what ends up happening is sometimes you have a solution in search of a problem. And why? So what I tried to do with the pride conundrum, and I'm not done with it, by the way. I went on to I create series so that way I can jump back to it from time to time.
Correct, because they're going to be so relevant.
Yeah. So with that in mind, what I wanted to do was, why is the pride community such an issue for the citizenry, for politics, for society? Because politics is different from society. Why is it a problem? Well, you got to break it down between L's, G's, B's, and T's and Q's. Well, you got to break it down because everyone has different tolerance levels for the different swim lanes in a sense, different colors, if you will. And so when you talk to individuals, everyone seems to have different problems, swimming through, but Mainly it's the T's that people tend to have problems with. When I'm listening to people talk, what I hear is people mixing and matching different problems with, it's almost ignorant speak, and it's not to be an offense, but they talk ignorantly and they almost mix the different letters together, and it's like, well, no, that's different from that. No, that's different from that. You know, you're mixing that up. What is your issue, right? I see you have a problem with just this, right? Now, why is that a problem, right? And I come to understand that sometimes its effect on society and how it moves as opposed to the thing. Okay, so now it's the behavior as opposed to the existence. Some people, it's the existence. Those are your bigots. We don't talk about them. Those people are deplorables. So now you have to figure out the difference between people who are tolerant but want control or want like measures in place, right? And you got those who are just bigots. Well, fuck the bigots, okay? We don't talk about them. See what I'm saying? So now I need people to be able to talk about what the issue. So you ask me, the question is, what do I hope to gain? Well, I hope, one, to be able to figure out what exactly is the issue, right? When I ask the questions, a lot of times it's not necessarily the existence, but I have to ask the questions multiple times in multiple different lives to get the answer.
Yeah.
Right? So then I find out it's not necessarily the existence, it's necessarily either the effect, the motive, or the behaviors, right? Which some are valid. Okay, some are valid. Others is just really,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So then it becomes a conversation to the pride community. It's like, okay, each community, whether we're talking about, heteros, whether we're talking about bis, whether we're talking about homos, whether we're talking about, whatever the case may be, whether we're talking about, Christian people, whatever we're talking, every sect within the citizenry has some type of deplorable portion within their sect.
Correct.
Every section does.
Correct.
It's the responsibility of each sect to check their part of the sect.
Thank you.
And if you don't, then what ends up happening is the worst part of that sect becomes their representative.
Look at us now.
So you see what I'm saying? So then it becomes a situation of now you have to begin to fight back what has become the worser representative of that sect, unfortunately. And that's the same for Black people. That's the same for white people. That's the same for Christians. That's the same for Methodists. I mean, that's the same for everybody, unfortunately. So what do I hope to gain? I hope to inform, provide a foil, challenge thought, figure out what the issue is, take back the message, get to a place like this and say, okay, here is what I'm learning. What do you think? Take it back and say, okay, here's what I've heard. What do you think? Is there a way to come together? Because ultimately, here's the deal. These people, yeah, see it? They don't give a shit about what we're talking about right now. What I'm just spending 5 minutes talking about, they don't give a shit.
Which I'm glad you said that, because that's really where I was getting at.
They don't give a fuck about what we're talking about.
Yes.
They don't give a fuck that we are sitting here arguing about black, white, I'm light skinned, BMU's dark skin. They don't give a fuck, y'all. They don't give a fuck about BMU's beef and goddamn Bub's beef. They don't give a fuck.
I'm a vegetarian.
They are destroying shit around us while they are on their way to the goddamn bank. While we are sitting here destroying ourselves over shit that doesn't fucking matter. At the end of the goddamn day, so what if you're a Christian and I'm not? Y'all know I am not Christian. You know, good fuck well, I will watch.
Uh-oh.
Y'all know good fuck well that I don't believe half the shit in this bitch.
They don't either.
Look, like him.
They don't either.
Some of those people don't.
I don't believe half the shit in this bitch. Okay, I'm going to be very real with you. Starting with the motherfucker on this goddamn cover.
Not even the Christians abide by that book. They even
listen.
send to their children.
There's cherry picking all throughout that bitch.
Yeah, very much so.
Here's the problem: is that it's designed. The people who are in control, they don't even read that book.
Hello?
They practice Johannism.
Johannism.
Elaborate.
I don't have time.
Oh.
They practice Johannism. Okay. All right. All right. And it's a Jesuit, and it's a Jesuit thing. So the point I want to make to y'all is that while we're sitting here fussing over some shit that ain't even complete, and it tells you it ain't complete, they are puppeteering and making their own ways to make themselves richer, to devise a plan for their families, their lives, and while we're sitting here fighting over some shit that don't fucking matter. Who's fucking who, why you fucking them, and so on and so forth. And so what do I hope to gain? I hope to gain some goddamn peace.
Thank you.
Goddamn unity somewhere where everybody's able to at least connect the dot of some type of agreement somewhere. Lost in translation, if you're listening to this, you said to me that it's not the person, it's their actions that you care about. So if actions can be corrected, then maybe we can get to the people part, not the actions.
Deshaun, I know you wanted to say something, then afterwards, if anybody else wants to say something, because I definitely want to say something. I don't know how long you here till, BossMann. I don't want to keep you too long, but I'm liking where this conversation is going. So, but Deshaun, go ahead. You have anything that you would like to share?
People just need to respect one another and stop trying to use people's image as a disrespect or try to use other things of low blows just because you try to prove something. That's basically all I have to say, because it's just getting ridiculous now.
Yeah,
we're all in this together. Those people are getting richer and stuff like that while we're here in this soil, just freaking arguing and stuff like that, and calling each other people's names, calling each other names and stuff like that, which is getting ridiculous now. It's out of control, and it needs to be meant right now because it's just ridiculous now.
Yep. And even though those individuals don't give a fuck about the conversation because there's still a level of fear there, I'm grateful to know that there are people who do want community. Like, there are people that are waking up. That's why they want to be so against woke. Christ was woke, was he not, according to the narrative? You call yourself that, but then I had to learn through BossMann, through his religious conundrums. Make sure y'all check them out on his platform, please. If you subscribe to his platform, The Objectivist Podcast, okay? Where these individuals are not followers of Christ. They are Paul-spirited individuals. Individuals who are still very much connected to the law of the world, that are in the world and of the world instead of being in the world but not of it. And the part that is scary, though, BossMann, about everything that you said is that you bring me the information. You come, you literally, I can tell you literally put time and effort, great, immense thought into what you do to be able to help. Because again, you have to learn how to love yourself to be able to help you. So now you're in an overflow state to where you can help other people. I think in your first live, you just said, if we just learn to love each other or love ourselves, shit will change. But the fact that you were doing all of that and it still was not working, and it's one thing for people to want to choose to be ignorant, but now it's starting to become dangerous to where those ignorances and fears are manifesting. Look at how this election was won. off of trans people and people that are in jail getting surgeries, and the gay community want to convert your kids, and black women too damn strong, even though the black women and gay men have been holding the black community together. And if some niggas will actually get their shit together, maybe we could take a rest and you can come actually be some use.
Bubs, but let me tell you something like this. But they talk about after children. Children are getting molested by teachers. Children are getting molested by babysitters. There's women that are getting impregnated by 13-year-old boys. That was also on the list of that freaking woman that actually did that to that boy like that. And how come that woman don't go to jail or do whatever? And the thing is, and also they have strippers for 13 all the way up for those boys as well. That's actually, there's a video of that where they praise that. But the thing is, when it comes to only gay people, that's the only problem of a scare. But when it comes to us, the thing is, how come you're not protecting y'all children all the way around? That's what I don't understand. And children grow up to become predators as well, just to let you know that. Victims become victimizers, just like Diddy and also freaking R. Kelly and all of them. But the thing is, nobody wants to talk about that. You don't want to talk about the men that are all overly sexualized and stuff like that, where women have to be disrespected and getting cheated on because of what they had to experience when they were kids that young. And sometimes it goes even further than that, 3. So don't even start with that. I'm a realist. I don't do this. I go all the way around to this because I've been researching this on the computer about those people that do that to children like that. I'm not stupid.
Right. It's a broken world. It's a broken world, and broken people are going to do broken things. I mean, again, look at who they put in office. This is literally, if you look at the story where the people had to choose between Jesus and Barabbas. Jesus, the one that y'all was seeing healing people and regrowing limbs and shit, turning water into wine. Y'all was fucking with him then. All that type of stuff. And then choose a person who is a known rapist. Interesting. A known murderer. Interesting.
I'm done. This country's
a known agent of chaos. But again, to your point, Deshaun, when you talked about the little boys having strippers and the Bootsies of the world and all the celebratory aspects of that.
Protect our kids, man.
Yeah,
Kids
but listen. One thing I had to learn as well while watching and listening and having conversations is that because in this culture, that is seen as a right. But listen. We're gonna talk about all that. But for them, they see it as a rite of passage to know that my son is becoming a man, because even in those times when they had those conversations, they even share some of their own paraphernalia that they got from their daddy or from their uncle or from their granddaddy, them. But the issue and the problem is that not everybody's going to be heterosexual. That's just the reality of it.
But
so
when they get confronted, then the dad say, "You're a man, huh?" But you gave a manhood when you had sex with the older woman, though. But when they confront to you at an anger like that, then you saying you're all big and bad, huh? That don't make sense. That don't even make no damn sense to me. Bullshit.
Oh, I didn't say it made sense. I just talking about what it is that is unfortunately happening. BossMann, you want to say something? It's like you gestured that you want to say something.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Usually in these conversations, we usually go around and we splice different things here. So,
yes.
All right.
Dissect. Here
we go. When we talk about sexuality and we talk about things from an eventual standpoint relative to a starting standpoint, it is safe to say that where people start sexually doesn't always mean that that's where they're going to end. So let's understand that sexuality is a personality.
Okay.
It's a personality of what you are sexually. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, all right. When we're talking about how men conduct themselves, men conduct themselves on a heterosexual basis with their sons, giving their sons rite of passage to some degree. Okay. It is true to a level where yes, when boys are becoming men to a degree, and we are egging them on towards their rite of passage, yes, we tend to talk to them, talk to boys, especially our like kinfolk, as far as like our sons or our nephews or whatever the case may be, and kind of egg them on like, hey, you got a girlfriend, this, that, and the other. Because I remember being young and hearing that from the older gentlemen, like, hey, you got yourself a girlfriend, whatever. And I've heard both sides, where it was the egging on of what you should do, what you shouldn't do, so on and so forth. And then it was the conversation of you haven't done that yet type of thing, right? I've heard both, depending on the man, okay, and depending on the motive for the most part. I cannot say for certain if that is the same on the female aspect of it, because I haven't been in a room and those type of conversations. But on the male aspect of it, it does indeed happen. The conversations that do occur amongst men while the younger ones are around we call it barbershop type conversations. It can get to a point where it is explicit. Do I personally think that it's purposefully explicit in a way where it's intended to target the younger ones? I can't say 100% that it's always intended to do that. Does it indeed end up targeting the young ones? Like they're talking amongst the men and they turn to young folk and they say, hey, young blood, have you fill in the blank? It does do that, yes. No lie. Yeah. But is that always the intent when the conversation starts? In my experience, no. Right. In my experience, it's always been, well, come here, young blood. Let me prepare you. It's always been preparatory in a sense, right? Not in a sense, but in a sense, it's been preparatory. Okay. It's what we do to try to prepare you. Now, to your point, Bubs, when you say that not every man is every adolescent, okay, so pubescent individual is going to be heterosexual, to the point where it may seem like it's unfair to gird a bustling young blood towards the path of heterosexuality. Might I present a different perspective?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I'm heterosexual. My son, my two sons, okay. My oldest is 15, he'll be 16 this coming June. Okay. Would it shock you if I told you that I've asked my oldest son a couple of times what his interests are?
It wouldn't shock me.
Okay. I asked him, what is he like? Are you interested in boys or are you interested in girls? He said girls. Okay. I checked in about, I think about 6 months ago.
Okay.
And I asked, hey, what do you like? Last time he told me there was a girl's name. He gave me a girl's name this time. And I said, the last time he told me there was a girl's name at the dance you liked. Is she still there? Do you like her? That confirmed to me that he still likes girls. So that tells me how to prep. Okay. But my guttural reaction as a heterosexual male is to do what? Gird him for what?
Heterosexuality.
Boom. Okay. So in this instance, I only know to do one thing, which is what? Gird my son for
heterosexuality.
Okay. Now, if I was, why?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah. Well, I mean,
No, no, no.
Yeah,
Yeah. Go ahead.
why would you? Okay, I'm kind of. Why would you need to ask your son whether he was? Basically, you're asking if you're straight or gay or whatever. Why would that matter? I mean, my son. I'm never. I mean, me and you are. I got a son too. I got a son too. He's 21, getting ready to turn 22.
Mm-hmm.
And and I raised him. He's here upstairs, probably listening to us. But it never. I don't care what I mean, I know he's heterosexual because he talks about girls, has girlfriends, and but I've never cared whether if he was, I didn't feel like I had to steer him in any direction or whatever. Whatever he was is whatever whatever he is or whatever his sexuality is just what it is. So I don't know why.
No, I'll answer. I'll answer. Yeah.
We need to go that direction.
Sure. Because I know that it's a possibility. I'm accepting of the possibility that it could go either way. Mm-hmm. And so in the event that it is homosexual, then I need to either provide him the information that he needs, because we're at that point in time where he needs to understand, because the school system that we're in is not providing sexual education. So that means that whatever path that he's on, I would like to be able to, one, be a part of it, but then two, try to, be a part of it and accepting, but also know about it, and then give him what he needs. Okay. So, and help him either way. So backstory, my brother is homosexual.
Okay.
So with that in mind, I am not. So I'm not against it, and I love him all the same. And I saw his journey, his path, and what it's like when family essentially ostracizes him because of him coming out. So I didn't want that possibility. And so for me, if he is or isn't, I would prefer not to assume. So I'd rather ask.
Right.
And so because I know that the school isn't providing any sexual education, then I would prefer to first ask, and then, okay, then left or right, here's the information that you need. Point blank.
Well, that's why see how you were able to handle that situation. You were able to do it in a loving type of way, because I understand what you mean as far as, as a man who is heterosexual, you want to also continue your legacy. I understand that. You want that to happen. Sometimes you might live vicariously through your child, or I have a son, or I'll be able to have him accomplish things that I couldn't accomplish. You know what I mean? So I understand the fact of raising him or guiding him in the path of heterosexuality. My father did the same thing. And I understand that. But I wish that more fathers, especially Black fathers, have the level of awareness to even just think about the possibility and deal with it. You get what I'm saying? Because even with my father, with him being deeply into organized religion, Baptist to be exact, and to Rawan's point, it says the thing though is that straight men aren't just checking if their sons are straight; they are actively discouraging queerness. The common reason dads ask is to make sure the boy isn't queer. So I know again, I appreciate you because you're objective, but for a lot of the other men, when they find out that their son is not queer, first of all, it's thank God. You know what I mean? Because of all that comes with it. Even the reality of, you think I'm gonna like going to church and going to y'all football practice or talking to the brothers and shit, and they talking about you like your son's a fag? You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want to deal with all of that, because that is, again, a blow to their masculine equity as far as how they show up in society. So if there were Black men who were willing to say, if my son was gay or possibly just experiment and figure things out, even though I may be afraid, let me educate myself. Because I've even asked on the panel, and I've even asked you this question, and you answered it. Okay, we talked about the whole trans thing. Fuck surgery, fuck the medications, fuck anything that's going to alter your body. Fuck all that. We're not going to do anything like that. We're going to wait till you're 18 years old. So when you make those choices, you fully understand what's going on. But
because you ain't going on my fucking insurance with that shit.
Exactly. But I'll let you wear the wig because the wig can at least come off. I'll let you wear the lipstick because the lipstick can come off.
Yeah, get some goddamn mascara. I don't give a shit.
That's what you said. But then when I asked
exactly what I said,
black men, to Rawan's point, when I asked these black men if that was the case, to even see if that's the case, you might find out that's a phase. You never know. Because like you said, BossMann, it changes. It can change.
So to your point on the phases, my daughter went through a phase, and she was like, she came to us one day and she said, you know what? I like girls. So my wife and I were like, okay, all right. And the reason why we were just like, okay, it's because we were literally just watching TV, and she just came up and she was like, I like girls. Oh, okay. All right, well, what brought this on? And she was just like, I'm just tired of men. Mind you, it was just like in high school. I'm like, just wait a little longer, baby. But okay, cool. All right. So our thought process is like, well, we ain't got to worry about no babies. Okay, cool. That's
at least for now.
That's not necessarily true. You can
one less thing that we got to worry about. Like that was kind of our mindset. Where it was like, okay, cool. Well, let us know. Update us when that changes. You know. And so then it changed. And then it's like, oh, you know what? I think I like boys again. I'm like, really? Do tell. And then she's like, well, you know, girls get on my nerves. It's like, okay, cool. Right. You know, so and now she's fully fledged, into the heterosexual role. She has a significant other, that she's with and enthralled with, and she's happy. So I guess the question here is, what honestly is the ultimate fear or issue with the concept? That's the nitty-gritty of it. And the only thing that I can tell you is, at one point when I was deeply rooted into that book,
that's what I was going to say. That's what it's rooted in.
The book told me to hate or be hateful, or to be terse or cross with people who weren't like you. Okay, that's what it did. There were more scriptures about it that basically said that it was wrong to associate yourself with said individuals, essentially, right? You can find plenty about it, right?
Yes.
But you can find few that says just love, just focus on yourself for the most part, right? Okay, cool, great. Now, it wasn't until I broke away from it that I just started seeing people for people and just focus on myself and just saying, you know what, fuck it. As long as you're not doing anything to me, I really don't care what the fuck you're doing. Okay, because at the end of the day, when I meet you, I don't care about your sexuality. Okay, unless you're feeding me, financing me, or fucking me, I really don't care about your sexuality. Okay,
the FFF, fuck the KKK. I'm sorry.
Do you see what I'm saying? Because and now, unless me and my wife want to invite you in as a third, then of course, then I care about who you fucking. Do you see what I'm saying here?
Correct.
Like let's get down to the gritty here. So the point that I'm making here is that the only time you start to really care about it is because religion says, well, organized religion will say that if you invite people into your circle, the Paul version of it says that if you do, then there's something wrong with you because you accept something into your circle. And what you accept is what you stand for, and what you stand for is who you are and who you associate with.
Wow, birds of a feather.
That is the Corinthetic part of Christianity. that Paul stands for. Okay.
Right.
And Paul wrote about, what is it? 70%. I think I calculated about 70% of the New Testament. Okay. So you got to think, Paul controls majority of the New Testament, majority of Christianity, and Christianity starts in the New Testament, and Jesus is only represented in about 30%, maybe even less of the New Testament, ending at the time of what Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. You could say Acts, because Acts is represented as the majority of what they would call the book of the apostles, really. But Jesus' words stop at Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Right?
That's not a lot of percentages.
Say it again.
30%. That's a small percentage of.
I'll keep talking. I'll be right back. Keep talking.
I'm just trying to tell you. If you read now, of course, they say that the red label Bible will tell you that in Revelation Jesus speaks, but Jesus supposedly speaks as in the format of an angel, but it's only parenthetic, or how do I put it? Allegorical in a sense, because the person or the entity that speaks is only speaking allegorical when it says that I am the Alpha and Omega, the root and the beginning. Well, someone who only started coming into an existence, only 25% of the actual Bible, starting in Matthew, can't be the beginning and the end when it didn't exist in the beginning. So the individual speaking in Revelation cannot be someone that had to be birthed through the twat of a human. If you're just thinking objectively here. So Revelation cannot be, speaking of red label wise, cannot be talking about Jesus. Got to be talking about another individual. And if you read further into chapter 21, verse 22 or so, you read that the individual that was speaking the entire time says that these are the words, saith the Amen. The Amen is a totally different individual. I didn't know the Amen takes possession. The Amen was an entity. So now when you say the Amen is an entity with capitalization and quotations, might I add, now the Amen has possession and personality and an actual entity itself. So now every time that you read in the Bible when it says amen, it's actually a person now. So now that means that yes, Jesus is only represented, and mind you, he's not actually saying the words himself. A scribe is saying that that an apostle said that Jesus said. So clock it. A scribe is writing that an apostle said that Jesus said.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Do you see how we're sitting here and we're listening to what you're saying and we're asking questions and we're trying to become more educated?
Right.
That's the thing that I wish would happen. But I mean, I believe Tit for Tat brought up earlier about a podcast named Hardly Initiated. There was a live where they had two gay pastors. One of them I had the honor and privilege of interviewing a few months ago, where they came through with context, nuance, broke everything down. But the individual that they were debating and the person that believed them simply just subscribed to the fact of, oh, well, God doesn't want us to have context and nuance. God doesn't want us to think critically. So there is this, again, fear narrative.
Well, he's right. He's absolutely right. The second God didn't want that. The first one did.
Okay.
Oh.
The one of Genesis 2 absolutely didn't want that. The one of Genesis 1 did.
See, they don't talk about this in church. That's what I'm talking about. It's been certain ideas that have been placed in more of a prosperity gospel.
Yeah, see the guy up here, he's actually smiling. He's like, what do you wait, he's like, what, man, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Okay, so y'all probably you're probably gonna have me on another time.
I've done podcasts. I mean, not podcasts. I've done shows on this already. So I'm just letting you know. Me and my friend Charles, we've done shows on this. So I'm just listening to y'all. So and some of what you're saying is absolutely correct.
Okay, so yeah,
and it all depends on you know, your interpretation, you know, or if you actually believe the Bible, you know, if you believe the Bible, whether it's, you know, you taking it literally or figuratively, you know, and how you see it, and then how, you know, and then how you take the context of the stuff that was written, you know, and then who actually wrote it, you know.
Okay.
So
I personally take joy in reading it absolutely fucking literally. Okay. Because
I don't.
and I take it for a fact literally as it's written, and it will tell you when to read it parabolically. It'll tell you when somebody's having a dream. It'll tell you that they're having a dream. If someone is said the Lord came to me, that's a dream, folks. When the Lord is when somebody is standing in front of you, it'll tell you that it's like it literally says it. So you can literally read it literally parabolically, or you can read it literally. Like when it says the earth has four corners. No shit. The earth has four corners. No shit. I believe that. So with that in mind, if you for me, just I take pride in reading things honestly, literally as it is, because when you do, like for instance, the Quran is read literally. They read that shit literally. Okay, so everybody else
read it literally, but it's still.
But the point, but what I'm saying is they read. Okay, sure, but everybody reads their shit literally,
right,
until it tells them to say imagine, right? But Christians are the only ones who says that when something in the past something in the past is talking about something in the context of the past, is talking about something in the future. How could something, listen to what I just said, how could something in the past read in the context of the past talk about something in the future? That makes absolutely no fucking sense. And yes, I'm talking about Isaiah 53. So it makes no fucking sense. Isaiah 53 cannot be talking about Jesus Christ if they were bruised for our iniquity. How can something be in the past saying bruised? That's in the past, but talking about the future. Nope, it's in the past, and it happened with D. Okay, cannot be talking about something that is going to happen. Read it for what it literally says. Wasn't talking about Yahshua HaMashiach. Wasn't talking about that person. So you gotta read the shit as it is. Okay. So now back to what I was saying about the whole. What I wanted to say about the whole sexuality part is to me. Okay. I'm gonna rub some feathers here. What time is it? It's 2:40. Okay, got some time. All right.
Shit. Is it 2?
Yeah. 2:43. Listen, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna rub some feathers. Okay.
Appreciate you being here, Tit for Tat. Thank you.
All right. If the second God, okay, cared about sexuality so bad, in other words, cared about who people were fucking so bad, he would have put it in the 10 Commandments when he reached his hand from his holy goddamn mountain and carved it on the fucking blocks. Oh, wait. Oh, he did. And it was only if, watch this, only if you were in a covenant. Now, only if you were in a covenant.
It was carved by God. And if you believe that it was actually carved by God.
Now, I'm only talking about the actual book. You have to understand that when I talk about these things, I have to talk as if I have to talk exoterically. Sometimes we have esoteric knowledge, but sometimes you got to talk exoterically to the people who believe exoterically. You have to become all things to all men, so you may save some. So, with that in mind, okay,
objective, if you will.
You got to bifurcate. So, with that in mind, the reason why I can say that so comfortably is class. Where in the Bible are the 10 Commandments? What book?
It's been a long time since I read the Bible, so hey, you do it.
Just what book?
To be honest.
Exodus.
Oh, Exodus. Okay.
Exodus. Okay. Where in the Bible was Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed?
I ain't gonna hold you.
Genesis.
Okay.
Okay. If indeed that Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed because of homosexuality, which it wasn't, but let's just say it was. Let's just say it was. Then that means the second God knew about homosexuality. That means he had pre-existing knowledge about homosexuality to form all understanding about what to put in the 10 Commandments. So either we're dealing with an incompetent God who forgot, or he just didn't give a shit.
I want to go where he didn't give a shit.
Bubs and Deshaun. I sent it to Deshaun. I haven't sent it to you, Bubs. I couldn't get it through. It was too large to get through IG. But I just sent that to Deshaun today through a text message. To his cell phone. So when you go in there and see that, send it to Bubs.
Yeah, do that.
Got you.
Yeah. We're talking about the exact same thing that I just sent to Deshaun today. That we were going to talk about doing a live, doing a collab about. But what he's talking about, exact same thing. Same
you see
stuff.
how the universe works. You see how everything just comes together when you're objective.
That's why I'm just listening to him because I just sent this to Deshaun today, where the guys are talking about it, exactly what he's talking about.
Now, people want to also go and jump to Leviticus and say, well, if you lay with mankind as women lay with mankind, right? Well, here's what that means. Okay. Sure. You don't want to lay with man as woman would lay with mankind. Sure, because of the fact that, yes, if you start laying with each other too close to genealogy, you start to dust weaken the nation because of issues of genealogy. Sure, that's what King Tutankhamun ran into, and the kings and queens or whatever, they started trying to keep it within the bloodline, and what started to happen? They started having deformities and whatnot, right? Cool, great. Now, if I was a God who wanted to ensure that I wanted to have a massive following, mind you, this is supposed to be a primordial being talking, but I don't think it is, but let's just say it is. Now, he wants a massive following. He wants his people to grow. The only reason why you may not want to have men laying with men is that you do not have procreation. Someone who is concerned about procreation and the growing of the lands and growing of the of multiplication might be concerned of that, but why would that weaken the nation? Well, at that time, what was happening? They were going back and forth, warring, fighting, so on and so forth. I'd be concerned about the growing of nations as well at that point in time as well, right? Cool. That part I could totally understand from the perspective of a king or a leader or a God-ish individual, Yahweh, whatever, who may not want to have a weakening of a following or some force who wants to actually worship him. Totally understand that. But bear in mind that also in that list were a bunch of other things that were also weakening to the land as well, which was bestiality and incest.
Oh shit.
Okay. So when you pair all those things together, what was the main concern? The main concern was not the action of it, just solely the action. It was the result of the action relative to the end goal, not the action itself. Because if it was the action in itself, relative to society, it would have, God damn it, it would have been on the damn 10 Commandments to begin with. It's like basically saying, I wrote these 10 Commandments, I stretched my hand from on high and scratched on here, and then oops, we're going to add some more. But now Leviticus,
Girl, not God was working with Doge. Shit.
Didn't who wrote Leviticus? That was Moses, right?
No, it was Elon Musk and Doge.
But now Moses wrote it, but in the text in Leviticus 18, it says that God told Moses, but Moses wrote it. So now I'm confused. Because God told Moses, but Moses wrote it. Are y'all catching what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that picture?
Probably sure.
Who's
saying that God wrote it, but
it means Moses wrote it, but it says God told Moses, but Moses wrote it.
The fact that God spoke through him to write it? No.
Try again.
No.
God told Moses, but Moses wrote it. So he wrote it saying that God told Moses.
Who wrote it?
It's an allegory. This is all of what
It's not an allegory. It's Moses making some shit up.
Oh damn.
That's why I was saying God spoke to me and told me to tell you, because that's what you feel it is.
So in the Bible, anytime you hear that someone said God remembered, well, who's interviewing God saying that God remembered some shit? 1, 2. God told me to tell you. Paul coming around saying that I'm the chosen one. We've heard that before. There you go. Or somebody saying that God spoke or said something to somebody, like Abraham having a vision and his name being changed to Abraham. All these things, the only thing that has been directly handed down from God himself, apparently the second one, are the 10 Commandments. Every damn thing else, to include all of the laws that were basically extensions of the 10 Commandments, because there are over how many laws that I showed you that I showed in my live about in
600 and something.
Yeah, over 618 damn laws that were Hebrew specific, not Roman specific. They were Hebrew specific.
Right.
So Christians don't have laws. Hebrews do.
Correct.
So if we really want to get down to nitty gritty, okay, Christianity is nothing more. Well, shit. Here we go. Christianity is nothing more than an all-inclusive, universal, goddamn bastardization of Catholicism.
Come on. It has how many children? How many children does organized religion have?
Well, so in America is over 245. In the world is over 45,000.
Who footing the bill for the child support then? I hate for the baby daddy to know this shit now.
So the point that I'm making there is that most of the Old Testament, the beginning of it is the Tanakh or the Torah for the most part, and that is particularly for the Hebrews, which were nothing more, or the Israelites, which are nothing more than remnants of the Canaanites that they basically took the land from in order to make the 12 tribes of Israel. So I'm confused. This is why I don't subscribe to this shit. But what makes the most sense to me is what is directly written is the only thing that they say is directly written, which were the 10 Commandments. And nothing on the 10 Commandments says anything about who you're fucking unless you made a commitment, some sort of consignment or some sort of covenant last I checked, that has nothing to do with homosexuality, unless you made a covenant with the person that you're fucking.
And the fact that we don't have pastors and reverends and ministers and bishops and archbishops who literally, on the grandest of scales, the biggest cathedrals, are not breaking the Bible down like this. Because again, this system has created it for fear and control. And there's got to be some people who got to go to hell. There's got to be some people who got to wear the scarlet letter. And to your point, if we were going to play the game from that narrative, then there are 600 and plus. See, I think you said 618 laws to be laws to be followed. So if we're playing that game in a sin, the wages of sin is death, and there is no sin greater than the other sin, then if gay people are going to hell, we will see y'all there.
Oh yeah,
but when we have those conversations, it's funny that now people suddenly have awareness and they suddenly understand context. They suddenly understand nuance. So bringing this all outside, because it's the reality we're dealing with, just besides their belief systems, the reality is that these people are in positions of power who are then taking the narrative back from queer people. And the reason why it's scary in a sense, and I think you said something about how can something in the past talk about the future in a sense, but still be in the past? The way that I look at it is that came to my mind is like, well, maybe if people continue to repeat cycles, you'll know exactly what the future brings. So even though you were bruised, you're going to be bruised in the future if you don't learn from this shit, which is why we are continuously in the same situations that we're in now. But it's conversations like this where we can learn to actually be objective and to face the fear. Everybody's having a conversation because they don't want to deal with the fear. But because of that, now again, the fear is manifesting again with the Nazi regime, getting rid of queer existence. What are they doing? Starting with the T's and working their way backwards. Starting with the children and working their way up to adults. Removing data, information, controlling the narrative, removing the rights. Then once they have that, then it's grounds for, okay, well, now we can fuck with these people even to the realm of death. And we literally had people who support Trump, for example, like the Theo Bros that also are directly connected to JD Vance, who literally has said, you know what, you don't have to believe what we believe, but we can kind of like, force you to, or call for actual public executions of queer people. And I would be a fool to sit up here and believe that it cannot happen in America, because if America actually looked at itself, baby, the catastrophe and the bloodshed that America has caused, not just on its own land, but abroad. But that's where we are now. We're in the times where, and I think you mentioned this before, the age of Aquarius. This is an Aquarian, a water age, age of flow. And truth is being revealed, and some people can't handle it. And it becomes very dangerous. So let me ask you this, boss man. Knowing all this information and the fact that people are making a choice to ignore it out of fear or ignorance or whatever the case may be, but yet still want to eradicate it, what do you think would be best for the marginalized groups of people to do? Queer people, Black people, women, people of color, immigrants, anyone who isn't white, anyone who isn't wealthy. What do you think that we should do? I know that's probably a fully loaded question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, boy, that's an interesting one. And after I answer that one, I think I might have to go on that one.
That's fine. We late. I'm sorry. I'm just always deep. I'm sorry. I can't help it. It is what it is.
Well, look. One, recognize, first of all, who our actual enemies are. First of all,
our enemies are within.
That's the first one.
And then I would say when it comes to our own individual communities, because I don't ever really see our separate sects of communities coming necessarily together. But what I do honestly see is our communities. I would love to see our communities grouping together at some point.
Yeah.
Problem is that we're too interdependently segmented. So with that, I would say what we should do is try our best to find out what are our cancers, identify them while we are in this stage, fix them, get over them, and try to come together on what it is that I guess aligns us or makes us similar, right? Okay. Now, a part of recognizing who our enemies are, target those together if possible. The reason why I say that is because I've already said there's a lot more that makes us similar than what divides us. But I think once we understand that, then we can then see that there's something that wants us to be divided. There's something that wants us to be fighting. There's something that wants us to be broken. Regardless of if we are conservative or liberal, married or single, gay or straight, or whatever the case may be, Christian or not Christian, there is something that wants us to be divided. And I do believe that we can be somewhat different, but still somewhat going. I mean, we can go down different lanes, but still go down 95. Like, damn. It is possible. But we've got to stop the fucking infighting. It's me personally. So what is it that we should do? Is figure out a way that we can go the same direction. We ain't got to be in the same lane, but at least figure out a way to go down the same direction and stop constantly perpendicularly going towards each other and fighting each other. Because while we're doing that, we're doing nothing but destroying ourselves and missing opportunities for us to at least, stop fighting each other on the ground versus elevating ourselves and going upwards.
Understandable. Yes. And it's conversations like this that bring that about. And again, the way I feel like we get to that point is we have to face the fear. It's the fear, it's the ignorance, it's the unknown. It's too evident. We have to, like Tit for Tat said, the enemy within. Start with yourself first. Love yourself first. You cannot be the change you wish to see if you don't even know what the fuck that looks like for you. But the fact that there are individuals who have done the work, like for yourself, BossMann, who have to grow up dealing with all of the stuff, the stigmas, and still loving yourself to where now you can get on a platform and speak your truth and niggas quiet. But it takes a certain level of self-love for that. And even though you did what needed to be done and you probably didn't like the way you did as far as the energy, there are people who are going to watch that, who are going to think twice because they came across your content. Because I got to believe there are some people who really are ignorant but really want to understand. But they also get caught in the bullshit too. So to your point, we should be checking ourselves. The queer community to check the queer community, the straight community, black, white, whatever, check ourselves. And you did an excellent job of what accountability within house looks like. And it's very aspiring, and we all should do the same. But again, BossMann, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Tit for Tat, is there anything that you would like to say before we end this live?
Oh no, I just thank BossMann. That was a good show today.
Yeah.
We watched that whole thing and we commented on it, and we had our little commentary in the background. But that was a good show. And thanks Bubs for putting that together.
Oh, no problem. Appreciate y'all.
And for turning me on to BossMann. Actually, Deshaun actually turned me on.
Yeah, Deshaun. Shout out to Deshaun. Yeah, he the king of introducing people. Lord.
Right.
So
yeah. And I'm gonna go check out some more of BossMann's content.
Yes, please make sure you do it on his platform.
Oh yeah.
On his platform. Give him the views that he definitely deserves it. I kind of want to ask BossMann one more question, but I don't want to be shady because there was kind of a little Easter egg in the midst of your commentary tonight. If people listen to a certain particular sector of your life when you were showing the receipts, there may have been a familiar voice that they may have heard. Slightly. Slightly. So I feel like I want to email you this, but I'm just gonna be honest. The person who recorded that live and got Trey's shit was me. I was the one that did it. I was the one that recorded it. I came about it just snooping around. So with that being said, do I have permission to share more information about that, BossMann?
Sure.
Okay. And lastly, BMU, if you're still in here, and I say this respectfully, you have every right to use my content as well. If there's anything that I said that you want to give commentary to, I don't give a damn if it's my wonderfully made where I talk about my personal life and you can use that. I have a live where I talk to my parents about them having queer children, because not only am I gay, my sister is too. So if you want to use that as evidence to support what you believe, I give you permission to do so. All I ask is that you be objective. And if you need help with what objectivity looks like, you got this individual right here that can help you. And no shade, y'all better learn from him while y'all can, because you can only take so much bullshit. No shade. But anyway, BossMann, thank you so much again for joining us. Definitely have to get you back on the platform again whenever you have time. I know you probably gonna do a little bit of backlash because of this, but that's all right. Objective, so we appreciate it. I don't know.
We shall. I mean, I would honestly say, maybe not. I told no lies here.
Correct. Thank you.
And I told no lies there. I'll be honest. I divulged nothing that wouldn't be divulged there. And nothing was shared as far as information or anything of that nature. So I keep things pretty separate, and I hold true to my word when it comes to what is personal, what is bifurcated, and what is centralized. So so BME has nothing to worry about relative to what is proprietary information, nothing like that. Right. So, and I don't practice mutiny. Basically, what I'm trying to say, essentially. Right. But I do need to, spread my wings and grow. It's gonna be slowly because at first I am a husband, and second I am a father.
Correct.
So I don't have much time. Like right now, this is 3:07 in the morning, so I got to get up and go to work. But
yeah,
at the same time, I do need to grow and expand. TikTok is a thing. So the only reason why this was even possible is because I was already sitting here. If you had to ask me to pop on a live at 3 o'clock in the morning, you'd be shit out of luck.
I know that much.
You'd be fuck out of luck.
I wasn't even trying to be up this late anyway. I was trying to go to bed early, but we were just in the flow. So yeah.
So I was already sitting here in the same shirt. So
correct.
With that in mind, I think this is a good. Actually, I think it's a good start, and I'm hoping that you guys are able to. Honestly, I hope you guys are able to bridge some shit. And I don't know. Hopefully so, but we'll see. We shall. Okay.
Yeah, we will see. But again, BossMann, thank you so much for joining us for this panel, tit for tat. Make sure y'all subscribe to him as well. Make sure y'all follow BossMann on YouTube and on TikTok as well.
And thank y'all. By the way, I didn't say thank y'all ever since I've been on here. So thank y'all, by the way, for showing up on my side, sharing my shit. Okay.
Correct.
It's long-winded. All right. And I am
I'm
who the fuck
BubzDaGawd.
I
They used
am.
to that shit over here. They like we like context and nuance. We take our time. We don't like fast food shit all the time. We don't like GMO shit all the time. We like our shit to be cooked with love and shit. Put on some Jill Scott. Put on some old school music and dance and pray over our food so it can nurture our body, mind, spirit, and souls. Okay, so we take our time. No
Well,
shame.
I appreciate the support. I'm new out in these parts, so I appreciate it. Thank you guys very much, and I appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you.
All right, no problem.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Yes, everybody, y'all have a good night. Make sure y'all go ahead and watch the replay. Make sure y'all watch the replay of this live, and we will be talking to y'all soon. Until next time, y'all. Peace.